is Betty Lou Sandy. We're here at the Spruce Street Community Garden to talk about putting your garden to bed for the winter or fall cleanup. I'm going to cover a variety of things in a short amount of time, but be sure to download the documents to go along with this video. They'll give you a lot more information. And take a look at some of the other videos that are available on our Facebook page for Spruce Street Community Garden. Today we're going to be taking down one of the garden beds here at the Spruce Street Community Garden and getting it ready for the winter time. Here we have some tomato plants. We've already passed over the lettuce plants and all the other summer vegetables, but tomatoes tend to hang on through the fall, usually till the end of October and into November sometimes, because we have a very late frost season here. But this year we need to get things out more quickly because of a big changeover we'll be doing, and next year will be wonderful. So right now I'm going to take things out and show you how we put the garden to bed. What I'm doing right now is cutting the vines away from the supports. And of course, as I find something that's good to eat, I'll just nibble on the run. But it's good to take the foliage and vines away first so I can take away the supports. I'm using a lawn and leaf bag because these stems don't break down very well. Now what I have here are some dried out tomatoes. In here, if you can see them, we have plenty of little seeds. And you know, you might buy some tomato seeds next spring to plant in your garden. But these, if you just leave them in the soil, next spring, they're going to become baby volunteer tomato plants, and you'll see them around June. June is when they know it's time to come up, and that's when they'll do it. And usually through the month of June, I'm finding these little baby tomato plants all over the place. And I'll just scoop them up and put them where they need to be. That way, I have the best tomato plants I could possibly hope for, because they made it through the winter and they knew when to come up. Instead of being forced by starting them indoors, they're going to be hardy, healthy, and have come up at their own pace. All right, so we'll take up the woody stems and shake out the valuable soil. Take out the woody stems, shake out the soil. Ah, here it is. And we're leaving the leaf mulch. Leaf mulch is very valuable to the garden because underneath the soil is where the earthworms and biodiversity rest. And they come up, they decompose what's there, they'll take care of all the waste that's in here, and I'm going to take these out too. And it insulates the soil, so there's no dramatic rise and fall in temperature. It's good for the roots. And through the winter, I will pile another 2 feet of leaves on here, up to here. But the rain and snow will make it compact. The earthworms and biodiversity will decompose it, and you'll end up with only an inch or two of mulch for the springtime. I just plant right through the mulch, and I don't disturb the weed seeds that are underground. Something else we have here, all of those were annual plants. That means they just live 1 year, drop their seeds, and maybe come up again next year. But here we have, oh good, garlic chives. Garlic chives are a wonderful green that comes back year after year, and I'm going to put it in a container. Because this bed is going to be going away and new beds are going to be replacing it, I just used a digging fork. Did you notice how easy it was to pop up? This soil in a raised bed is so soft because we don't walk on it. Here are my my garlic chives, the whole plant, and more little bulbs to go. I even have a tomato in there, lots of wood bugs, and an earthworm, my friends. I'll put this in a container so we can then plant it in another area. Now we're going to be potting up that little clump of garlic chives. Now when I divide something like that, I usually use a digging fork. I have a digging fork that will go right into the clump. Doesn't matter if it's a small clump like this or a big clump like that hosta. I like to divide them with forks. We have another fork. And I go back to back. And then I pull it across and cross them again. And there you are. 2 clumps of garlic chives. So, I have a container here of half filled with soil. I'll put this in here and make sure that all the foliage is up. Put a little here. I have nice, good garden soil here because this is going to go back into the garden at another time. But I don't know where it's going to go, so I'm giving it a good head start. So if it has to wait through the winter, the roots will just keep growing and give us a good foundation for next year. There. See? A new pot of garlic chives. And I will probably see I hold them by the top so that all the roots are coming down. I can just plop a few extras that fell out. Add a little bit more soil. And be sure to water them. This way, they have a little drink and they'll be less stressed out. No one likes to be stressed. Now we have another perennial, only this is the flowering type, that's in this particular accent garden. This obviously is a hosta, very tall. It likes deeper shade, which it doesn't have, so it's lighter green than it would be. But I've been pruning it back. Let me show you what I'm going to do here. I watered them so they'll relax a little. Notice I'm repurposing a kitty litter jug. They make a great watering can, and it didn't cost you a nickel. Now I'm going to continue to prune these back. I like to leave 6 or 8 inch stems when I'm pruning back my perennial plants. This way in the springtime, if there's a predator around, like a woodchuck or a deer or something, and they're looking for fresh greens, their nose is going to get poked by the stems. Generally, I don't cut back perennials until they're looking poorly. For instance, if it's got a leaf like this, I cut it back. But this year, I'm going to do a lot of these prematurely. Now, once this pops up out of the ground, as I wiggle all the way around with my digging fork, then, just like I did with the garlic chives, I'll put in one digging fork into the middle of it, and another digging fork, back to back, and I will pull them back and forth until I get a half. And then, with that half that would be here, I will do it the other way. Only these will go down much more deeply and go out and back. That will give me a chunk that looks like this. I did this just a few days ago with another large hosta. When people think of fall cleanup, putting the garden to bed, usually raking comes to mind. Well, there are many different ways to rake. I've watched people go, all right, and it's gonna kill your back. But if you do short hops, like this, it's not gonna hurt your back. And what's even better, if you're able to switch. You notice? I just switched from putting the pressure on one side to putting it on the other. So I'm getting a full body workout. It is also great to do it methodically so that it'll take less time. And this way, you'll be stimulating the grass to get up any of the thatch that might have built up. And you're going to bring up all the blades of grass so they're standing up. It'll make it so much easier. Also at this time of year, if you mow your lawn yourself, make sure you drop it down to the lowest setting for your last cut of the season. That way the leaves will just skid off the lawn instead of being caught between the blades of grass, and then they'll become mulch under the trees and the shrubs, and even on your vegetable bed, and that's a good thing. So we're going to be raking these leaves, putting them on a tarp, and then dragging them to where we need them to be. After I rake my leaves, I put them on a tarp so I can transport them. A tarp is so much easier than anything else you could use. I even throw my tools on top, as long as you remember to take them off when you empty it. And I bundle just two ends in one hand, and off I go. Okay, here we are at the vegetable garden. Remember this? I've taken my tools out of the tarp. Another reason why I love the tarp is that it's easy to just pick them up and dump them. Remember, I set up 2 feet of leaves. Whoop. These are nasturtiums that are still looking so beautiful. They're an edible plant that keeps away the squash borer, the cucumber beetle, and they're delicious in salads and other cooking. Here's my mulch for the winter. Now I can wet it down so the leaves won't blow away. But if they do, they'll just go into the other perennial beds or other vegetable gardens, and they'll add mulch there too. So now you know a little bit more about the tips and tricks for putting your garden to bed. I hope that you'll take a look at the downloads of the documents and learn even more. And be sure to check out the rest of our videos that we have coming up for you, at least one a month. And then we'll have some in-person, hands-on seminars, all free, starting in March. We'll see you then.